She was Hollywood's rising star in 1980s. Beautiful, talented, just 20 years old. Then, in March 1984, Shauna Grant made a decision that would end everything.
I fulfill my fantasies in working in the adult business by making other people happy. I was a model first for about 6 months. Then I started acting in film.
Today, I'm uncovering the real story behind Shauna Grant's tragedy. What drove a small-town cheerleader to Hollywood's darkest corners, and why her death at 20 still haunts the industry 40 years later. Shauna Grant wasn't her real name. She was born Colleen Applegate in May 1963 inches, Bellflower, California, a small-town girl with big dreams. Her childhood was ordinary cheerleading, homecoming, dances, Sunday church. But there was something different about Colleen. Friends remember her restlessness, that hunger for something more than suburban life could offer. At 18, she made her first decision that would change everything. She answered a modeling ad. Within months, she was in front of cameras, but not the cameras she'd imagined. By 1982, she'd become Shauna Grant. The adult film industry saw her potential immediately. She was young, photogenic, and willing to do what others wouldn't. Her first year in Hollywood, she made over 30 films. The money came fast. Fame followed faster. At 19, Shauna Grant was one of the most sought-after names in the business. But success in 80s Hollywood came with a price nobody warned her about. Behind the glamour, something was unraveling, and nobody noticed until it was too late. By 1983, Shauna's life looked perfect from the outside. Money, recognition, magazine features calling her the next big thing. But privately, she was collapsing. The pressure was relentless. Studios wanted more content, faster shoots, edgier material. At 20, Shauna was working 6 days a week. Her body was exhausted, her mind was fracturing. Then came the cocaine. In 80s Hollywood, drugs weren't recreational, they were survival tools. Everyone used them to keep up the pace. Shauna was no exception. Here's what most people don't know. In late 1983, Shauna tried to leave the industry. She wanted out, wanted to go back to school, start over, but she owed money. Studio contracts locked her in, and the addiction had its grip. In a letter to a friend that December, she wrote, "I feel like I'm watching myself disappear, and I can't stop it." 3 months later, she'd be gone. Imagine being 20 years old, trapped in a world you can't escape, everyone wanting something from you, and nobody asking if you're okay. March 21st, 1984, Palm Springs, California. Shauna Grant was visiting her fiancé's family home. They'd planned to marry that summer. She'd talked about quitting the industry for good. But that afternoon, something broke. At 3:30 p.m., Shauna walked into the bedroom. She picked up a .22 caliber rifle, and she ended her life. She was 20 years old. The industry barely paused. Production continued. New faces replaced hers. Within weeks, most people had moved on. But those who knew her couldn't forget. Her mother later said, "Hollywood didn't kill my daughter, but it gave her the tools to destroy herself." The Los Angeles County coroner ruled it suicide. The case closed quickly. Too quickly, some said. But Shauna Grant's story was just beginning to be understood. In 1988, her story became a TV movie, Shattered Innocence. Jonna Lee played Shauna. Millions watched. Suddenly, people started asking questions about the industry, about exploitation, about what we demand from young women and what we ignore when they're suffering. Today, Shauna Grant's name appears in college courses on media ethics. Her story is taught as a cautionary tale about fame, addiction, and the cost of the American dream. Shauna Grant wasn't just a statistic, she was Colleen Applegate, a girl from California who wanted to be someone, who made choices in an industry designed to consume her. Her tragedy reminds us that behind every headline is a human being, someone's daughter, someone who mattered. And that legacy? That's why we still tell her story 40 years later. If Shauna Grant's story moved you, explore my other videos uncovering forgotten Hollywood lives. I've linked another untold tragedy here that changed the industry forever. Thanks for watching.